So the next one we'll be talking about insurance. So insurance, there are like so many types of insurance, right? So many types of insurance. So normally there are four we normally see in real estate. A home insurance, a business insurance, a tenanted property insurance, and title insurance. Okay? Next one, title insurance can cover future title fraud. Okay? And can provide gap coverage to buyer and borrower, which protect their interest when transaction is closed. There's often a gap several days between the submission of the land transfer and mortgage document to the land title office and the registration of those interests on title. Lawyer cannot release mortgage fund to a seller until registration is completed, and the title shows no intervening registration. A borrower can arrange a title insurance policy, and quickly it takes effect on the date issued. It assures the state of the title that the date registration of the land transfer. Loan document. So what land title insurance is that a lot of a bank will require you to purchase a land title insurance. It costs maybe around $400 and up. For example, a $1 million home, it costs around $400 or something like that. It's required by some bank, like for sure, they need you to buy it. And normally are bought by a lawyer, and probably your client won't even know about land title insurance. But land title insurance, as an agent, you should know and explain to your client, you should buy land title insurance to protect yourself. If there's something wrong with the land title, then it's protected.
And that will be after they complete.
After completion, yeah. At the completion, you'll be buying that with your lawyer. The lawyer will buy for you. Because, for example, the bank was afraid something happens in between the transaction, then they won't release you the money. So you have to buy this insurance for the bank to release you the money right away on completion and given to the seller to complete the deal. So the land title will help you with that insurance.
Do you think the lawyer...
And for fraud, for example, I don't own the land, okay? It was fraud that I sell you the land. But later on you found out it was a fraud. Who pays for it? Title insurance.
The lawyer for sure will buy it for you.
No, not for sure. Only when some bank requires it, or when you requires it.
Do you buy
Not 100% bank will ask for title insurance.
So is it a one-time thing or?
One-time thing. It's one-time thing. So title insurance is really important when you're buying a land, like not a strata, like a house or farmland.
No mortgage, right? Like a
Well,
you buy the house.
It doesn't matter mortgage or not. It doesn't matter mortgage. Yeah.
But sometimes if you have mortgage, it's probably that no one can fraud this to the others, right?
Well, it doesn't matter. Anyway, you can like doing a fraud. Like, for example, one of the owner wants to sell, one of the owner doesn't want to sell, right? Mm-hmm. It could be also a fraud.
Okay.
So land insurance is very important. Title fraud and forgery. So this land title will cover forgery and fraud. Sidney owns a resident property with clear title. His title shows no mortgage. Arnie applies for a mortgage on Sidney's property by pretending to be Sidney. Arnie forged Sidney's signature on the mortgage document, and the lender registers the mortgage on title. So what happened? You own the property. I pretend I'm you, and I got a mortgage against your property. I got the money. That is a fraud and forgery, right? And the land title insurance covers that. So, would you recommend that to your client?
Yeah.
Of course, right? So Arnie received the mortgage fund, immediately leaves town, so run away. Cindy now has a mortgage showing against the title. If Cindy has a title insurance, it may cover for any loss or damage from the fraud and forgery, including the cost defending Cindy's interest in the property. So it is an important thing for you to suggest your client to get a title insurance, right? You get an insurance for your car, you get an insurance for the house. Of course, you're gonna get an insurance for the land, right? It's only $400 for $1 million property. It's not a lot of money. And it goes a long way, right? A non-title defect. After moving into an existing home, Max receives a notice from the municipality requiring him to obtain a building permit for a family room addition the previous owner built without permit. See what happened, right? Max hires a contractor to inspect the addition. The inspection report recommended the demolition of the addition. Title insurance may cover the cost of demolition and the loss of property value or the cost of reconstruction. See how important you buy this insurance, right? So this is the one I just mentioned. The city requires you to remove the extra space in your home, right? Unknown municipal compliance issue. Cindy purchases her first home, which includes a large rear deck of the kitchen that the previous owner built. After moving into the property, the utility company advised Cindy that it needs to be repair an underground service and will be digging along the utility right away. See there, right away, they're gonna use it. And much to her surprise, Cindy discovered that the portion of the deck is covering the company's utility right away. So find out where the utility right away is, don't build anything on top of it, right? So now, creating an encroachment, she must remove the portion of the deck to allow the excavation and repair of the underground service. An owner title insurance policy may cover Cindy's cost, the removal of the encroachment structure. So a lot of things could happen, right? If you live in a house, you better know everything about your house. If you don't, buy insurance. No one municipal compliance issue. Norman decides to buy a house with a large two-car garage off back lane. Carl, the current owner, discloses that the location of the garage foundation is too close to the rear lane. This creates an encroachment on municipal property. It may be possible for the seller and the buyer to agree to title insurance to facilitate the sale. The seller would purchase the insurance for the buyer in lieu of or in addition to provide an RPR. I'm not sure what that is. The buyer may accept title insurance with the understanding that the insurer can refuse to pay the claim should the situation arise. The seller must disclose to the insurer the encroachment prior to purchase the policy. So if you do not disclose this issue to the insurance company, then they would probably, when something happens, they can refuse to pay you the money because this issue is already there and you know it, right? So to close the deal, they had to buy this insurance 100% because otherwise the buyer is not going to buy it because they know it's an encroachment to the city's property, right? And city may, maybe 10, 20 years, they may not go after you, ask you to move your garage, right? So you never know. So you have to have a title insurance. Okay, now we go to home insurance. Home insurance is something that you must purchase if you have a mortgage and when you're buying a house, a home insurance. But for condos, normally you're not required to buy an insurance because they have a building insurance. But it is also recommended for your client to purchase a home insurance even you're in a condo. Because the construction in Canada, or I should say in Vancouver, all the pipelines of yours are at the ceiling of your lower neighbor. Your plumbing is all on their ceiling. If you're leaking, the water goes directly to your neighbor next level. So if you have the flood, the water goes down. Like in China, you've seen how they test the water, right? They flood the room with water for 24 hours, see if there's anything leaking. You cannot do that in Vancouver. If you do it here, all the water goes down. They don't have waterproof in Vancouver construction, okay? So that's why you have to have an insurance. Because I had a client, I told them for many years, you have to buy this insurance. But never listened to me. Until one day, upper floor flooded 7 units. They flooded 7 units, including her units. So they had to pay for all the damage and repairs. And all the losses for if the TV was flooded, they have to also pay for the TV, right? So the client calls me, hey, where do I buy home insurance? No, he was the one got flooded. He's not the one flood other people. So he got scared because other people happened, right? Now he got scared because guess what? How much is the deductible for building insurance for flood? How much? 1,000? Okay, anyone else?
500.
500? You know what I've seen for the newest building in the Arc? $10,000 for deductible. If you flood someone and if you want to use the building insurance to pay for it, you have to pay $10,000 first.
Older condo is 15 or 13,000.
Yeah.
Like that.
So they want you to buy your home insurance to cover that. They don't want you to use the building insurance to do it because, you know, every time you use the building insurance next year, it goes up. It goes to everybody who lives in the building. It's not good for everyone else. It's only good for yourself, right? So make sure your client buy a home insurance. Tell them how important it is to buy home insurance, okay? And when you buy a condo, you have to ask for the insurance policy to check how much is the deductible. And when you buy your home insurance, and you have to tell your insurance company, I have to cover how much deductible in my building, okay? You make sure you cover that. If you buy a home insurance without covering this deductible, what's the point of buying your insurance? Right? Okay? And must purchase if you have a mortgage. If you're buying a house, make sure your client buys the insurance before the completion. Otherwise, you cannot complete. Okay? Make sure you buy the insurance before the completion date. Make sure of that. And a home insurance, there's another one for duplex. You have to buy it with your neighbor. Before you remove the subject, find out if the neighbor has an insurance. If the neighbor doesn't have an insurance and you remove the subject, if you want an insurance, you have to pay for the whole thing, right? Because some neighbor, they won't pay for the insurance. I've seen people, they never bought insurance for their house for like 50 years.
Yeah.
I've seen people like that. They never buy insurance. So make sure if you buy a duplex, your neighbor has insurance before you remove the subject. Business insurance. Very important. Everyone saw the news on number 3 road. The car crashed into that restaurant. If they don't have business insurance, guess what? They have no money can be claimed. Right? They cannot claim their income loss. They cannot claim their windows, their doors, their walls, right? And maybe somebody get injured. They don't have third-party liability insurance. Well, you just get business insurance that'll cover everything. Yeah. Next one would be tenant insurance. If you're buying investment property, you have to tell your insurance company, this is a rental property. It covers for the rental part. If you don't live in there, it's a different insurance policy. So make sure if your client is an investor, they buy the right proper insurance, a rental insurance, okay? If something happens to the tenant, it's also the landlord's fault, the landlord responsibility. So better buy the rental insurance as well. The tenant, you can ask the tenant also buy tenant insurance. It's about probably $200-300 a year for tenant.
For the
What's that for?
That's also protecting their asset. For example, there's a sewer backup, a flood, whatever, fire. It burned all their furniture, burned all their TVs and stuff, and burst themselves. Go to hospital. It protects them.
Well, what did you call that one? That is tenant.
Tenant insurance.
Tenant.
And the landlord also buy a tenant insurance. It's all called tenant insurance or rental insurance. So if you talk to any insurance company, they know about it. Yeah.
Insurance agent.
But a lot of times, if you ask the tenant to buy insurance, they probably will choose someone else who doesn't require them to do it because they don't want to spend extra money.
Since the owner paid for this, why?
Well, owner pays for the building,
Not the personal.
not for their asset.
That's not just tenants.
Yeah. Not protecting their asset. The insurance you buy is protecting your property.
The personal belonging.
Yeah, personal belonging. Normally we tell the tenant, we suggest them to buy it. We cannot force them to buy it. Well, if you force them to buy it, you better in a really good market because the market, they have nothing to choose. They have to rent your property, so they will buy insurance. If not, they will probably choose someone else's property to rent who doesn't really require the insurance, right? Okay, so that's everything for insurance. Anything else? Questions about insurance, title? Yeah, Richard?
So say you got water damage from the tenant, and your building is all flooded. You apply for your building insurance to cover the damage of the building.
Yeah.
And then the tenant would just get whatever, like his TV broke, whatever you apply with first.
What do you mean, whose fault is that?
The tenant's.
The tenant fault. Then you don't pay for the TV. It's their fault. They flooded their own TV. Why would you be responsible for that?
Oh, isn't that covered by the tenant insurance or whatever?
No.
So what is the tenant insurance for?
The tenant insurance, if the tenant buys insurance for themselves, then it'll be covered. But your landlord insurance is covering the property, not their asset. Yeah. And also, they flooded your floor. You may as well ask the tenant for replacement fee of the floor instead of using the insurance because the insurance will increase if you use it, right? Number one is always ask the tenant, you have to pay me back how much money for the floor. If it's the tenant's fault, flooded other unit, I'm not gonna use my insurance. I'm gonna ask the tenant to pay for it. Unless the tenant run away or whatever cannot pay for it, and then I will use my insurance to cover it. Right?
So wait, was that building insurance or was that landlord insurance?
There's three insurance in the building.
Landlord.
There's a landlord, there's a tenant, and there's a whole building, strata building insurance.
Oh, okay. So in that case, you'd be using the landlord insurance.
Yeah. And also the building insurance.
And building insurance.
Yeah.
Well, wouldn't just the building insurance cover it? I mean, if say he were to run away, you could just use the building insurance, right?
No, because the building insurance, how much was the deductible? $10,000. So if you have your home insurance covering the $10,000, you would only pay deductible on your home insurance, which is like few $100s. So you pay few $100, and then you access the building insurance to cover for the loss. It's like a car insurance. For me, I have a $500 deductible on ICBC, right? Or CIBC? ICBC.
ICBC.
Yeah, I always mix up. So anyways, I have $500 deductible. but I have another insurance to cover for the 500, which I only pay $50 deductible. So if something happened to my car, I pay 50 instead of 500. It's similar to the building, your own insurance and the building insurance. You have another insurance to cover this insurance, right? Yeah.
Excuse me, John, I wondered, what about the strata insurance? When, the strata prefer you use your own, the owner's insurance?
No, they cannot. If something happened, it is your right to use the insurance. They cannot say you cannot use our insurance. They can't do that.
Then you have the deductible.
Yeah, you just pay the deductible. So you pay your home insurance $500, and your insurance company pays the strata insurance $10,000.
What happens if somebody flooded your unit?
Well, then you don't have to care about it. You just wait and sue the other party for damage, for loss.
You have to sue them.
Yeah. Their insurance will cover it.
Oh, what if they didn't buy? Oh, their
If they don't buy insurance, they have to pay from their own pocket.